Infiniti M suspension work. This video applies to the 2006 through 2010 Infiniti M's, specifically the rear-wheel drive models. I've made a few different videos showing all kinds of tips and tricks when doing suspension work, and one that I made most recently explored how to install your right side, passenger side in the US, lower control arm. The challenge had been that on the US side, on the US models, right, on the right side, we have fuel lines over here, and now it was a matter of how do we get this big end in here. Let me take you to the other side first so you can kind of make sense. So on the driver's side, if you wanted to gain access to this bolt, it's right here, pretty accessible. However, on the passenger side, as you guys can see, we have fuel lines. And so I think in most of those videos, what I've done is that I've slid the bolt into this block and then installed everything together. I've shown you how to turn it, twist it around and get it in there. But I found myself in a situation. Well, let me just show you the tip or the trick on how to replace this bolt or how to gain access to this bolt without necessarily removing everything. Here's a fair warning. This method might cause some damage. I think in one of the other videos I mentioned that I didn't like playing with this part right here because I was concerned that I might break some clips, break some plastic, and I think it happened. Actually, I know it happened, I just don't know exactly when it happened. So here's a warning. You see that fuel line? This is where it comes into the engine bay. And then do you see this white bracket over here? Yes, there's supposed to be something else sandwiched on the other side holding it down. And mine broke. As a result of that, I realized, well, the one thing that I was most concerned about has already happened. So why not use this method? Okay, so there's a challenge. If you try to remove this bolt over here, you're kind of limited because my tools are kind of tall, so you have a height restriction over here. At some point you can come in with your open end wrench, yeah, but then you still need to find a way to remove it, right? There's a little bit of an obstruction over here already. So here's one thing. I've mentioned this in the past, that the front part of this is sort of flexible, and I can't guarantee that it was indeed made flexible or it broke, like you can see over there. And I don't know what the chicken, which one is the chicken and which one is the egg in this situation, but mine is flexible. Okay, so what you do is you pull this front part out and then you push the whole thing backwards. Okay, and once that happens, now I feel like you can move it a little more freely because you have two hoses playing whatever games. I tried to remove the whole thing, but I couldn't. Maybe I didn't try hard enough. And now once you do this, you can pull the bolt through the top, or at least enough to drop it on its side and remove it. Okay, and so during installation, it's going to be pretty easy. Actually, let me just install the one I wanted to install. So let me explain the why. Why am I even doing this project? I might have hinted at it in the other video that during removal, when I was removing the old control arms, I came to realize that I've got two bolts on each side, right? So on both sides, the right side and the left side, one bolt was more corroded than the other one. And I think in this case, it happened that it was the one inside the frame. Okay, and on the other side, again, the one inside the frame. So thinking I'm pretty smart, I decided, let me do this. Let me install these corroded ones on the outside so that I would be able to get to them a little easier if need be. And that's what happened. So I had time, and I bought some brand new bolts from Infiniti. I've already installed the one on the other side, and here's a brand new one. And so I'll be installing this one over here. Oh, did you see that? Just slid it through the top. You can slide it through the top. You could bring it from the side. Whatever works for you, really, at this point. Just find the hole. And then pull this backwards. It should drop right in. Drop it did. Okay. And I like to start by hand. I always talk about this whenever I get a chance. You don't want to cross thread something. It's easier to tell and to stop if you're just going by hand than using tools, you know. Okay, so that's far enough. I'll pull this one backwards, or rather forwards, back to its home position. Bend it back so I can keep protecting things. And let me see if this can now fit inside. It's a little bit of a struggle, but we're in. Okay, there it is. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share that tip. And as I said, huge warning. Oh, here it is. This is what broke off mine up top. So it's just something to be aware of. I don't think that the fuel lines are going to jump out and run away, but I think I'd rather be honest and open with everything that I run into, share those things with you. And I think, let me see if I can actually now get a tool in here, because the torque spec is 76 foot-pounds. And you know how I know that? Well, the manual. But then what I usually do is create these cheat sheets. Look at this one right here. And I have my shorthand method of, this is not the scientific denotation of it, but I use T's to represent bolts and what direction they're going, and then I use the D's for the nuts, you know. So direction, nut, direction, nut, direction, direction, and then these are all foot-pounds. I have everything covered. This is the left side, this is the driver's side, but using a drawing like that, I can buzz through the job rather quickly.